What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter.
Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. Power lines that are just kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg.
Today I'm joined with Marc Cesar. How you doing today?
Well, good, brother. Yourself?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. We just had a really good chat. But this show here with Chance Encounters, in case you in the audience haven't seen any of them before, we quickly go through the motivation of the investor for their next commercial deal. Then we go through the 6 different roles in a commercial deal, and I say, which one is you? But one of the most important things if you're going to be successful, especially in this industry, is being able to effectively introduce yourself. So, Marc, could you please introduce yourself for the audience?
Sure. So my name is Marc Cesar. I am currently based out of Midland, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, by ways of New York City. I am an aspiring multifamily investor. I am 2 years in the space. I'm looking to get my first deal done with my partner and I. We primarily focus on the North Carolina region and the northern Floridas. And we just love connecting with other like-minded individuals and see where we can add value and also learn in the process.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Excellent. So for the first segment, we're going to talk about the motivation, as I mentioned. So I'll hit this and it'll show up right there, and I'll scoot over and I'll go, hey, look, that's in the wrong spot. And then I click this and I drag it up. That's much better. Okay, cool. So as I was saying, most beginners, they don't really know which role they're going to have, but at least they know their motivation. So that's why I start on these chance encounters with that part. So the first motivation that people have for buying an apartment complex, especially if they're wealthy, is they're looking to preserve their purchasing power. Basically, they recognize that they get all of their cash from the assets that they have, and inflation is a huge risk in taking a bite out of that. So that's one reason why some people are looking for a commercial property. The next reason is my one, and that is because I'm trying to trade time directly for wealth rather than indirectly. As a high earner in tech, that means I could just take all of my income and dump it into whatever investment it is, but I have the intermediate step of taxation, and so it makes more sense to me to apply my skills to co-GPing, and then that way I get equity in return for my time and effort. The next one is the most common one, which is that most people want to fast track their retirement, but there are 2 things that might not be clear about the retirement fast trackers. One of them is that it implies there's an end line, there's a finish line in your head, and that is retirement itself. See, some people, they'll become an accredited investor and then they'll rest in their laurels and say, yeah, I don't even need it. The other thing that's implied is that there's something going on financially. You're not starting really from zero, because then basically your play to make it work has to be different. The time for wealth person has to be very time intensive, whereas somebody who has a little bit to work with does not. And that also brings me to the next group, which they are super duper ambitious. They are never going to stop. They want to buy their entire hometown, and that's exactly, like, they're not going to stop until they drop. And that is a very handy type of person to have in a group that's building its portfolio, because you know that they're not going to just become an accredited investor and then vanish more or less or be no help. But the fifth and last motivation after being super ambitious is that they've got some sort of social group, like some group of society that they want to help in particular, or maybe it's animals or something like that. But basically the accumulation of wealth is secondary to actually helping that sector of society. So those are the 5 reasons that I've found. And what combination of those, or which ones resonate with you or describe you best, Marc?
I would say the last 2. The buy my town, as well as someone helping others.
Mhm.
I definitely fit in those categories for sure.
All right, excellent, good stuff. And so the next segment that we do after, now that I know where you're coming from and what you're really hoping to achieve, is the 6 different roles. And I usually introduce that based on, with my tech background, I tend to help repositioners more than anybody else. And so as you can see, repositioners, I got multiple different properties and a bunch of paperwork there. So what a repositioner has to do is they have to underwrite. In other words, they have to do the math on how the business is doing on
Yeah.
the properties, and they need to find upside on that. The 2 ways you can get upside very easily: one is through more efficient operations. You can make your operating expenses a lot lower. You can keep track of the water or the money going down the toilet, as you can see here, but also about the money. Someone who's looking to do like bookkeeping or something like that, or marketing to make sure vacancy stays low, that would also be included in operations. So that's part of where I come in on a co-GP team as well.
Okay.
But the repositioner is also sitting there thinking, well, what are other ways to get upside? So they end up going to a contractor and make the place nicer so they can charge more in rent. And if you have that and you have your operations, then if you're like me and you're from the internet, then you're also going to need boots on the ground. You're going to need a local who can get there in about an hour, because that's not going to be me. And so there's your day-to-day people right there. And when a repositioner finds a property that that's going to work out, they go to the financier, in other words, the bank, and says, hey, I need millions of dollars to buy this property. So can you lend me millions of dollars? And they'll check out the property and the team, see what you're going to do. And they'll say, okay, but who's your sponsor? Who's your KP? If you're a beginner, that's going to scare the heck out of you, because
Yeah.
you have to have, if you want to get a loan, you have to have somebody in the fold who already owns a similar asset. So even Jeff Bezos, if he wants to buy a 350 unit apartment complex and he wants to get a loan, then he's going to need a sponsor who already owns a 350 unit apartment complex. But other than that, you also have to have a balance sheet of equal to the amount of the loan. But if you have all of those, you have a commercial deal. So out of those 6, in the next commercial deal that you'd be looking to be a part of, what's your core competency out of these different roles, or what's the most likely part that you'd be helping out?
I would say boots on the ground, especially in my market right now, because again, I can easily navigate. I'm in North Carolina, so I can easily navigate to certain areas in the Carolinas. That's something I feel that I bring a value to anyone's team.
Mhm.
I can easily, I'm a pretty safe yet fast driver, so I think I can make it to anywhere in an hour or under. So
Nice.
I'll keep it as that.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, it's that reminds me of, like, I always mentally have a little bit of a zombie apocalypse team in my head, and having a fast driver, that's one of the things you need. And you can't be the only fast driver on your zombie apocalypse team, because, like, what if you have to use one of your other core competencies as
Exactly. Yeah.
being a getaway driver? But so you were mentioning, like, basically where your sweet spot is geographically. As far as like unit counts, like, what is your ideal property that it just makes the decision much easier for you as far as the size and.
Sure. So my partner and I, we're predominantly looking for anything 30 to 75 units.
Mhm.
But again, I know that if you want to scale quicker, you have to go a little over 75. So we like to challenge ourselves, and that's how we stretch ourselves from our comfort zone. So we definitely look at deals that are bigger than 75,
Mhm.
which we're actually looking at one right now. So it scares the hell out of me, but it's a challenge and we're ready to take it on.
Right, right, right. Well, it's kind of like being a parent, right?
Yeah.
It's like, who's ready for that? Like, really, really, So I get that. So that's all cool. And we met through some meetups and through
Right.
LinkedIn and whatnot. Is LinkedIn the best way to reach out to you?
Definitely. I'm always on LinkedIn. Anyone who needs to reach me, Marc Cesar is LinkedIn/n that /Marc Cesar, MarCCSAR.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, you got your Calendly, you got everything on there, so that's worth. If anybody, you in the audience, if you're paying attention, you can look, you can up the screen size, and then you can see that even better there. I see you have a YouTube channel as well. But since I'm talking to you in the audience already, I do have something I want to mention to you, which is if you look under my hand somewhere over here, there's a red button. It says subscribe, and that's bad because that means I pay for the videos. If it's gray, then that means YouTube pays for the videos. And I really want that Google money. So please do that. It doesn't cost you anything. All it means is my videos might show up on your list of suggestions. So it doesn't cost you anything. So please do hit that subscribe button. If you don't know me well, I'm Dan Friedenberg. My background is in e-commerce technology and mass marketing, which means sending a whole whack of emails the way you're supposed to. It's lead capture, lead gathering, and also online sales funnels. And in the co-GP part, it's streamlining acquisitions, and it's also automating operations with sprinkled with a little bit of capital raising, because if you're on the internet, you have to know some people. So thank you so much for joining me today, Mark, and have a lovely day. Thank you, audience.
Thanks, Dan. Pleasure.
Awesome.